You want to talk about the issues of love as it frames the denomination's theology and approach to LGBTQ stuff. What do you have in mind here,
Absolutely.
Travis?
Well, I think for us to have a perspective that is non-affirming betrays the heritage we have that was built by people like Mildred Banks Wynkoop, you, Ray Dunning. Um, I mean, I mean, everything that we are, our entire identity as Nazarenes is centered upon love. Um, Wynkoop, for example, one of the things that she really pioneered was that holiness is relational, and that holiness and love are essentially two sides of the same coin. And so I really feel like if Jesus is the fullest expression of love and holiness, and that's the Nazarene perspective, then how he loves and affirms us unconditionally should be our standard if we are his body. It's a no-brainer for me. So um, I don't see the LGBTQ plus community as a separate community. I think we're one created body, the human race. We're all one community, and it's the church that's trying to separate, and that's the issue. It's not a matter of us including a separate community. We were born into the same community. Why are we trying to push ourselves out as the church? And so I'm just completely bowled over by the way the church is gone. I feel like I've stood in the same place, and it's slowly just moved away.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly discouraging. I've had the meeting with the district leadership, of course, and we'll see how that goes. But I've
I
had
didn't
one.
realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like Jonathan's experience there that he was talking about right at the first. They put it to him this way: are you in or are you out? And I described exactly how I feel, and they said, so what you believe isn't in line with the Church of the Nazarene. And I said, well, actually, I've been a Nazarene my whole life, so actually, no, what I believe is totally Nazarene, because I believe in loving others and in fully including others, and that includes ordination and ministry. To be fully affirming is to be fully affirming. And so, yeah, I I think about it from a perspective of the church polity, and since every single part of the covenant of Christian conduct and all that's considered essential now. So, I put it to him this way. I said, were you an ordained minister, like in the 80s? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. So, in 1989, we made a change where instead of Nazarenes not going to the movie theater, it's just use discretion instead. So I'm just curious, if you disagreed with that, should you have given up your credentials? And he said, well, no. But what is movies, that's nothing like the issue of human sexuality. So, well, and according to new possible things that are happening, it really is actually all the same. And so, if for some reason the Church of the Nazarene did become fully affirming, would you give up your credentials? So if not, then why should I?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I've been thinking of a similar one with the group about 15 years ago. I think the same group who, at least some of the same people who have been at the charge from against my ordination and others, this group wanted to change the manual's view to having a more absolute inerrancy position on
Right.
scripture. And
Yep.
then, they kicked that to the committee. The committee came back with a very strong, we're not going to be the inerrantists. We like our statement.
Yeah.
And the people who, proposed that, to my knowledge, never left the denomination. and to my knowledge, didn't give up their belief in inerrancy.
Right.
And yet the criteria they have for me is that, I got to leave or I got to change my, and I just think, well, man, that seems like a double standard here.
Well, yeah, diversity is the whole point. I mean, we have people in the denomination who believe God created the heavens and the earth in 6 24-hour periods. And we have people such as myself who believe that God created the heavens and the earth through the Big Bang and evolution. And so does both of those ideals, are they affirmed in the manual? Yes. So we have that diversity built in already. Why should, and I love what I think it was Patty was talking about. Why should we let one little piece that had been in an appendix and has slowly grown over the years, human sexuality, why should it become a whole linchpin of what we're all about? Because we should be about love.
Yeah.
That we have an obligation as Christ followers to stand for the oppressed, and people are oppressed. So it's our job to stand against systemic Phariseeism, and that's what it is. That's what's happening.
That's powerful, Travis. Thanks so much for being able to jump in there when Steve had some problems.
Absolutely.
I think Steve has been able to get those fixed. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.
Travis.